All right, the Nashville number system. This is a shorthand way of referring to chord progressions. It reminds me of in baseball when there's a double play and they say it's a 6-4-3 double play. And in my head, I would always just go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Never knew what the heck they were talking about until I started thinking pitcher 1, catcher 2, and so on around the horn. And so you can do the same thing, that if you wanted to describe a chord progression to somebody, 1, 4, 5. Okay, so let's say you're in the key of D. So it would be, imagine if you have your major scale built out of this, is the 1, which is the D. So that would be a D chord. And then the 4, which would be 1, 2, which would be a G. And then a 5, which would be an A. So the translation is, in the key of D, 1, 4, 5 would be a D. 4, 5, and back. 1, 4, 5, 1. All right. How about in the key of A? Let's say we had a 1, 3, 4. That's a 1, 3, and a 4, which would be the A, C sharp, D. Each of those will be represented in the Nashville number system. If it's a major chord, as in the case of this A, that would be an uppercase Roman numeral 1, which is like an I, capital I. This is my 3 chord, and so that would be represented by a lowercase I, and then 3. And then this 4 is a major capital I, capital V. So that would be a 1, 3 minor chord. 4, which is traditionally a major chord, so it'll be shown as a capital I, capital V. The 5 would be a capital V. So you can see when you see a chord chart, why do they do it that way? Well, let's just say they take that same song and they say, you know what? This singer wants it a little bit lower. And so rather than having to rewrite and transcribe everything, you just remember those shapes. 1, 3, 4. It's going to look like that again. Another common one, let's go into the key of C for a second. All right, there's a 1, here's a 6, now here's a 4, and there's a 5. And so that original 1 is a major, so that's a 1. The 6 is a minor, so that would be little v, little I. Then here comes your 4, oops, not so much. There's your 4, which is an F major, so that would be a uppercase I, uppercase V, and there's your 5. And so, in short, Nashville number system gives you a way of declaring which chords that you're using, which intervals will be used, those chords, for a particular progression. And then so if you change and you say it's something else for the chorus, well then you'll modify that. Also, the other thing it does for you is, let's just say in a song, there's my 1, here's my 3. Typically that would be a minor, but if you see a capital, 3 I's, I, Captain. If you see 3 uppercase I's, that tells you that it's a 3 major, which is not typical. All right, and that's that little borrowed chord changes the feel. And then my 4 chord. Then how about a 4 minor? So this creepy chord progression allows you to see that it's very important if I'm changing the chords to annotate that in my chord progression as a 3 major, and then it closes with that special cadence there with that. So try taking some of those songs that you like and that try and figure out what chords they are, even if they're here, and they're in this sort of a zone. Try and determine based on what key they're in, what interval they are, those chords that you're using, and try and plot them out in the Nashville number system.